guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well, and today we're going to be doing a video about Athena. So Athena, as we know, if you do know, I hope you know, she's most famous for being the goddess of wisdom. So Athens was actually named after her, but we'll get to that. We will talk about that. We will talk about her rift between her and Poseidon and Athens. We're going to get into the nitty-gritties about how she was born, why she came out of Zeus's head. Yeah, we'll get to that too. But for now, let's talk a little bit about what she's the goddess of. So her Roman name was Minerva, a bit like Minerva McGonagall, wise wisdom. She was the goddess of strategy, war and wisdom. So Athena was Zeus's favourite daughter. Made this very, very clear throughout the whole of their lives. She was the daughter of the king of gods, Zeus, and the titan Metis. Some say that Metis was Zeus's first wife, others say it was his first affair. But either way, he was married to Hera, who was his sister, and had a child with Metis, who was a titan. So she was a very powerful titan, and like Zeus, affair or wife, whatever, whoever, what way, he then had a child with her who became Athena. So in either case, when Zeus and Metis were together, Metis became pregnant with the goddess Athena. But shortly after this, Zeus learned that any child of Metis was destined to basically take over from him, be much wiser than him and be more powerful than him. So Zeus was immediately threatened, just like his father before him, who gobbled up all of him and his siblings. Well, not him, because he was actually saved by his mum, Rhea. But he gobbled up the siblings. Zeus came along, thunderbolt out ready, destroyed his father, put him in Tartarus and freed his brothers and sisters. Is he going to follow in his footsteps? Yes, he will. So what does Zeus do? Well, he swallows Metis whole. Yes, he swallows the woman whole. He puts her in his stomach while she's pregnant with his baby. Because that's fine, isn't it? It doesn't matter because she's inside him. Doesn't matter. Athena's not going to be born, is she? I mean, he doesn't even know that Athena's going to be born. Athena's not even called Athena at this point. She's just a baby inside Metis' stomach, which is inside him. Like, is he not just doing what his father did? I mean, does he not think, hang on a minute, that didn't work because I actually destroyed my father and now I've eaten her. Is anything going to happen to me? No, because Zeus thinks with one body part, doesn't he? And that's not his brain. After Metis was swallowed, however, her pregnancy continued to form in Zeus's stomach. Eventually, Zeus began to feel the effects of Metis growing a fetus inside. He found himself with horrible headaches, with pain that he just simply couldn't put into words. He couldn't manage this pain, poor Zeus. He consulted others on Mount Olympus about how he was going to help with this. I mean, he probably took herbs and remedies. He probably went over to Hecate and asked her for some plants. But it doesn't matter, because it suggested that Zeus claved his own head with an axe, because surely that would relieve the pressure and clear his horrible migraines. Zeus agreed to this suggestion and asked the goddess Hephaestus, who was the one that aimed that axe at his head. Hephaestus did exactly what he asked, making a hole in Zeus's head to relieve those headaches. But out pops Athena, ready, with her shield fully grown in armour. Athena's one of the most famous goddesses, okay, because she's so wise and powerful. She's out of his head. Like, she actually came out of Zeus's head. Like, that does not indicate wisdom. I mean, if that doesn't indicate wisdom and wise, like, I don't know what does. So Metis. So Metis' name means wisdom or cunning. She was a second generation titan of the goddess and one of the Oceanids, daughters of Oceanus and his sister Theseus. According to the mythologographer Apollodorus, the son Zeus pursued Metis, and she tried to avoid his embraces by taking many shapes. Nonetheless, she did become pregnant. When Zeus later learned from Gaia, his grandmother, that the child would be more powerful than he, the solution he had opted was to swallow her whole with the unborn baby in her womb. However, after a period of Zeus getting terrible headaches, he asked the god Hephaestus to relieve him from the pain. He did this by striking the head with the axe, and Athena came out. So what stories was Athena known for? What stories and myths was she a part of? For me, there are three main big myths that she was a part of. First up, we're going to be talking about Athena, Poseidon and Athens. So, poor little Poseidon wanted to have a city named after him. Athena decided to have a city named after her too. So the two of them went to Athens, which was not called Athens at the time, And all the people in this place, they wanted to have the city named after one of the gods. So Poseidon comes along, he offers them an offering, he offers them a horse. Athena turns around and says, I will give you an olive tree. So they decide to pick the olive tree that Athena offers. I mean, the olives, they can make their oil to dip their bread in. They could use it to burn it to make wood. They could use it to cut down to make houses. They could use it for different things. What are you going to do with a horse apart from ride it? Not much. So they literally decided to go with Athena, which meant that they named the city Athens after Athena. Athena, Athens. Pretty good. Otherwise it would have been called Poseidon or Pais or Don. Yeah, I think Athena and Athens sounds a lot better. So she won that one. Another myth that she is a part of is why Medusa became a Gorgon. And of all the things that Athena has kind of done, this is the reason why I'm not too particularly fond of her. But then there are different ways you can kind of spin this if you wanted to. But the facts are, what I'm about to say, don't put her in a very good light for me. So Medusa one day was in the temple of Athena, worshipping her, doing what she did, doing what she's worshipping her, sacrificing. She was there for a reason. Poseidon, because Medusa was seen as this most beautiful woman on earth, Poseidon wanted to have her, claim her as his own. Medusa didn't want this. Poseidon, being a pig, literally did what he did, and some legends say that she, through what had happened, created Pegasus. But because of this, and it also being in Athena's temple, Athena decided to punish Medusa. Therefore, she gave her her snakes for hair, and any man that would look at her would turn into stone. Some people say that Medusa had this happen to her because Athena was angry and upset, and she couldn't punish Poseidon. So the only way for her to be able to punish him was to punish Medusa, and that way she gets her anger out on somebody. Others say that she did this to protect Medusa, so therefore no other man could lay his hands on her. I don't know which one I want to believe. I think it was completely unfair what had happened to Medusa. She did not deserve to have any of this happen to her. But whatever it is, Athena had a massive part in Medusa and her downfall and why she became a Gorgon. And the thing that bugs me about that too is later on Medusa got Perseus to chop her head off and she wore her head on her shield. I mean, after you've already punished somebody when it wasn't their fault, to then put her head on your shield, I don't know. I'm not sure if I like Athena for certain reasons, and that is one of them. The third myth that Athena is mainly associated with is a lady called Archer. So the story is, Archer was a young woman who was very, very good at weaving. She was so good that she became known far and wide for her skill. People would visit just to watch her weave, and on one of the occasions, Archer boasted that she was so good, it was as if she had been taught by Athena herself. The goddesses immediately heard of her claims and decided to visit her. Athena disguised herself as a fragile old woman and visited Archer to warn her against comparing herself against gods and goddesses. I suppose she gave her a warning, a bit of a heads up. She suggested that she should pray to the goddess to forgive her. In response, Archer dug in her earlier claims, saying that she has no need for any kind of advice and the goddess herself should visit so they could have a contest. That was all it took for Athena to get angry and competitive, and in an instant she transformed herself back into the goddess form and agreed to the contest. So they both weaved incredibly beautiful scenes, so impressive that anyone in attendance would be like, oh my god. Athena wove the scene of Athens, which the god displayed in its glory, so you can imagine how beautiful it would have looked. Archer wove many small scenes, showing small instances when the god had tricked her, harmed or punished humans for one thing or another. Most of the stories involved Athena's father, Zeus, and many times he had assaulted women only to cause ruin when he had finished. There was no question it was more impressive than what Athena had woven, but it also shone another level of pride. Archer was calling out the gods for how they behaved, and Athena was not happy about it. Athena was not only her father's favourite, she had also had this bad temper from him. In response to her actions, Athena took a piece that she had woven and ripped it to shreds before taking her tools and destroying those as well. She was so distraught by what Athena had done, and in essence, ruining all that she was good at, she tried to kill herself. But Athena finally felt a little bit of sympathy for the woman, saved her at the last moment, and instead transformed her into a spider. So that was to basically explain the world's first spider, which as you know, spiders create these beautiful webs, so she created the first spider. So what I'm trying to say about Athena is she creates these punishments, she creates these bad vibes around situations and stuff. Zeus is wrong. No matter what, Zeus is wrong. But Athena chose to take her father's side and punish the poor girl by ripping away like all of her pride, the things she makes money on, the things that she loves doing. Athena destroyed all of that. But then she had that tiny little bit of sympathy and transformed her into a spider to stop her from killing herself. So alike with Medusa, maybe there was a reason behind it, I don't know. But whatever it is, it always forms down to one of the gods who basically destroy what that woman has done. And it makes me hate all the gods, all the male gods. I hate you apart from Hades. Like, it's so mad how when you read so much about it, you just start to dislike them more than you love them. But I still love their stories. It's crazy. So many stories involving Athena, so many little ones, so many big ones. Because she was known as the Greek goddess of wisdom, you would literally turn around and be like, hang on a minute, I want some wisdom, I want some help, I need some advice. You would then worship her and sacrifice things for that wisdom, for that advice. So she was seen as someone that you would be very, very careful of as well, because she was clever and wise and knew a lot of things. You would be a little bit careful of her. Now I'm going to be doing a video about Eris at some point where we're going to be talking a lot more about this story, about Troy and how it started, because it was basically started by the mischievous goddess of discord, who is Eris. But just a little bit about it. Athena was a part of the reason why Troy became Troy, like why there was that battle, why there's this film about it, why Paris stole Helen, why she sunk 1,000 ships. She's literally the reason as to why. So just quickly, a little bit about it. 3 goddesses, Athena, Aphrodite and Hera, had a competition to see who Paris thought was the most beautiful. He didn't pick Athena, unfortunately. He picked Aphrodite. Aphrodite was basically going to give him Helen. Hera was going to give him power, and Athena was going to give him success in war. So to be honest, of all the things, he probably should have had the power or success in war, not just Helen, because even after everything, Helen went back to her husband. But we'll get onto that when we talk about Eris, because it's her story, and like I say, certain gods and goddesses don't have that many stories, so I don't really want to talk too much about them when it's not really about them. Even though Athena played a part in it, even if she wasn't there, there still would have been the whole thing with Helen and Aphrodite, because he still would have picked Aphrodite regardless of what other goddess was there, because he literally, like the gods, thought was one thing and it wasn't his head. So that is Athena. Athena is one of the wisest goddess, favourite of child of Zeus. Even though Zeus ate her mother, like there's so many things that are messed up with all of this, but she was still seen as his favourite. I mean, partly I think she was his favourite because he was scared of her, and because she was very wise. I don't know, but either way, she was his favourite. So yeah, that is literally Athena. Athena, like I say, I don't know how I feel about her. Sometimes I like her and admire her, and other times I think, oh, I don't know. So it's just a bit of a constant battle with whether I like her or not. I mean, I prefer Medusa, but I don't know. Either way, Athena is still very, very brilliant, very, very powerful, and very cruel at times, like her father, who has his temper. So let me know in the comment section below if there's anything you knew that I didn't know, anything that you were like, oh my god, I didn't know that myth. Let me know down below. And also, are you a team Athena? Like, do you believe in what she did, why she did these things? If not, let me know. Let's have a discussion about it, because I don't know how I feel. Persuade me to like her, persuade me to hate her. Either way, let me know in the comment section below.